Well, still talking about the oil and gas industry, our energy correspondent Olu Philip did have a sit down with a member of the NNPCL. You know that the NNPCL has been under a lot of fire recently. Well, he spoke with the Chief Upstream Investment Officer of NNPCL, Upstream Investment Management Services, Mr. Wunti. And well, we have excerpts from that. You can get the full interview on our website, on our YouTube website. But just a bit of it is what we bring to you right here on Business Morning.
For allowing us this time in your space. Let's start by really asking you, really from the top, in view of what you represent and what this department represents and signifies in helping Nigeria's energy security quest, what really is that and those things that keep you awake to ensure that these ambitions are met?
NNPC have, for right now, meeting all its cash call obligations. I'm glad to say that no partner is being owed any cash call. We are up to date. As a matter of fact, we are very proud that for the first time in a very long time, that cash call has not been part of what keeps the GCO awake. That issue has been crossed and crossed for good. And we're looking forward to having significant improvement. As regard to your question, what kept me awake? I think, frankly, I have three important things that keep me awake. Number one is production. Number two is production. And number three is production. It's not perfect to see why production is a major element that keep me awake. This is because production of hydrocarbon in this country underpinned the strength of our energy security and the strength of our financial security, whether you look at it from a revenue perspective or from foreign exchange perspective.
From the dashboard where you're looking at, how do you help to clear from this conversation the doubts, the disbelief, the contemplation for those who still have a different perception as regards Nigeria's production level, Nigeria's forex income revenue, and of course the cash call for the upstream sector, which is also the lifeblood of this nation's oil and gas industry?
So again, the data is crystal clear, and no doubt we are a monolithic economy. What that means is that we are very much dependent on the revenue from the oil and gas. At the last check, between 67 to 70% of our revenue come from the oil and gas related activities. In terms of forex, it's even in excess of 80%. A combination of forex and revenue determine the financial stability of every nation. But most importantly, the role of NNPC as a catalyst for national development and growth underpins the major important requirement for bearing a very secured energy security landscape. That would not have been possible without the role we are playing. And when you talk about the clarity that we are bringing, I think many a time there seems to be some misconception of what constitutes production of oil in Nigeria. There are two sets of numbers that we bring. One is for the purpose of OPEC and OPEC compliance. That deal with dry crude a lot. Only dry crude. What that means is that only hydrocarbon that has been properly classified based on its assay as crude oil, dry crude. And that's the one that we owe responsibility to meet our quota. However, for the purpose of our revenue computation, whether in terms of royalty, taxes, or even the profit, or the equity barrel that we need to take, we look at total liquid as the total production, which means it is the dry crudes for which we are obligated to comply with our own quota under OPEC, and then the condensate, which is also liquid. Many instances, this condensate and the crude are commingled together. So the total volume that we normally report is our total liquid production, which loosely Nigerians would call it oil. What you see many a times is that when our regulator brought about dry crude number for the purpose of OPEC, or OPEC reported our barrels, like just recently your television reported what OPEC said, that our August number has moved to 1.35 million barrels. What that means is that that's dry crude. For you to be able to know the total liquid hydrocarbon production of Nigeria, you need to add that 1.35 million barrel with our total condensate production, which stand today somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 barrels. So if you really want to report our total production, you need to take the dry crude number, add it to the condensate, and you will see that we're wobbling around 1.65, 1.7. But what you normally will take from OPEC is only dry crude oil alone. And if there's anything we want you to help us enlighten the audience, is the simple fact that anytime NNPC report total production, they are talking about total liquid. Anytime NURPC bring about total production, they're talking about total liquid. And that number is different from what we submit to OPEC because condensate is not under OPEC restriction.
To help us understand the PIA, some elements of the PIA, especially as it concerns the recent agreement or partnership that was struck between NNPC Limited and Chevron.
What the law does under Section 92 is to provide for any licensing holder to voluntarily convert to take advantage of the new law. So what we did with Chevron was basically to take that advantage. For us to be able to enjoy that, we did everything that we needed to do under the law to comply with the law. And in compliance with the law, particularly in a non-operating joint venture, collaboration matters. And that's strong collaboration between NUIMS as a non-operating partner on behalf of NNPC and Chevron as operating partner requires significant level of alignment. And that close working relationship made us to be successful in meeting all the requirements for us to combat. That conversion means that today, the NNPC Chevron joint venture is positioned to be more profitable. It's positioned to go ahead and do its business with confidence in order to generate more value for its shareholders. Most importantly, it creates a properly kept licenses that are up to date, that have gone through regulatory compliance checklist, and therefore it is an unencumbered asset. With that, investment can now happen without any restriction, and that incentive to invest is the expectation that is going to create more production.
What is the true position of the IOCs as regard these stories around divestment, leaving the country, not finding conducive environment, especially the troubles from, so to speak, from the communities?
Well, I can confirm with you with all certainty that all our upstream-related regulators are now business enablers. The NURPC, for example, has never been as friendly as it is today. And that was why you can see it as evidence that the combined collaboration between the operating partner Chevron, the non-operating partner and investor NNPCL Limited, and the regulator worked through a very stringent requirement for compliance. And we are able to achieve that in record time. And today we have our licenses now converted from 5 OMLs to 26 PMLs. That is unprecedented by any benchmark. Second, when you look at it from NCDMB perspective, we're getting more and more collaborative response in a very speedy manner. Our operators, together with us, we are engaging with them closely. The combined, what I call current situation by our regulators clearly is providing additional level of confidence. You spoke about the community. Best practice as a reasonable, prudent operator, Chevron in particular, supported by the non-operating partner NUIMS, considered community as very crucial to our business.
Feel free to tell us if there are more investments also happening alongside that may not have been raised in the course of my questioning in this interview. Are there other investments going on that may suggest growth for Nigeria?
All what we are doing basically, and how are we partnering with our operating partners, is that we're wearing bifocal lenses. And what does that mean? We are doing whatever we can do to exploit to the fullest, optimally, the investment we have so far made across our production landscape. Second, we are also working hard with our partner to explore new opportunity, new horizon that we can invest in. That was slowed down because of uncertainty and the ambiguity around lack of clarity around the fiscal system. That has been eliminated now. We have also successfully mitigated the security challenges. And what that means is that we now have a green pathway towards making sure that we invest and benefit from those investments.
Fuel of choice. And for those who pay a little more attention to how processes work and how this industry works, CNG, if you work it backward in terms of the value chain, will mean that the feedstock natural gas has to be available. And if more Nigerians, for instance, sign in and sign on to this fuel of choice, which is CNG, are you suggesting that we are making the right investment progress to make sure that the feedstock, which is the natural gas that eventually leads into value chain into CNG, isn't going to be a problem when a lot of people sign on and are demanding heavily for CNG as the fuel of choice?
So compressed natural gas business is a value chain. And because it is a value chain, it starts obviously from where you source the gas, to how you process the gas, to how you package the gas, to how you eventually transport and deliver this gas to the consumers. You have to have this value chain synchronized properly in order for them to deliver on their mandate, on their objectives. What we have seen is the greater interest or increasing interest on CNG business, and demand for gas obviously is showing up. We in the upstream space, we are waking up to that occasion. We are having more and more gas. I don't think there's any CNG company that has insufficiency of gas, absolutely no. But we also noted that the development of the midstream and the downstream component of CNG requires some time to mature. And that maturity matrix or maturity funnel is far behind the gas production.
So there you have it, understanding some of those details on the production, crude production, and some of those joint ventures which we hear the NNPC do sign up, and how it will affect revenue and crude production or crude availability in the country. That was it being done by Olu Phillips. Now, I think we can do a little bit of the market for just a second or so. Yeah, so we have the market closed yesterday in the positive. We do know that the oil and gas, yesterday was a very busy day for the markets. We saw the flour mill delisting news. We saw it move in the market. We saw the Seplat also, and Exxon and Mobil also moving the market. So we see that the market gains 0.42%, equities cap was 56.88. If we could see the sectors, okay, volume was mixed, the only values stood out. Let's see the sectors. I think the figures, yeah, there you have it. The figures lost yesterday. Consumer goods and industrial goods were in the green. And there you have that news with Seplat that moved the oil and gas counter. That was a major driver of the market yesterday, 3.27%. To give you fresh numbers, intraday numbers, that'll be at 1 p.m. Business Incorporated. Laddie Williams will be here with Aniti Edit. For now, let's head back to the Sunrise Daily Studio.